So, you guys wake up the morning afterwards. Bill and his crew is elected to stay in the Comfort Inn version of taverns or inns or whatever. All that beat down kind of took their pride out of them. So you guys would like to meet up some tavern, kind of go over everything that's kind of happened over breakfast. You guys get there. Everyone gets a seat, sits down. All the important officers are there, except for Kyrie. Kyrie's nowhere to be found. Probably off chasing fucking summon animals in the fucking woods, trying to bang a celestial goat or something. God only knows.
They're all celestial.
That's her dirty secret.
Celestial Oha snack bar?
Transition.
Who knows?
Yeah, I don't have a map of Sangor up here. Actually, let me do that real quick.
Well, that's a huge boat down there.
Yeah.
My island is
Oh, that
all
should be
boat.
anywhere. It doesn't exist.
Yeah. Oh god, it's gone.
Oh, not again. Why'd I have to live through that again?
Ah!
You wake up to a knock at your door. Shit.
Rubbing all that salt in the wounds.
If only I could afford salt.
Yeah.
I may actually just make a page with Sangor as the map instead of just a handout.
Oh yeah. Speaking of a Ford, this might not be a good time since you just lost your ship and stuff, but do I get paid for being on your crew for the last week or so?
You got paid in exposure.
So, new scars from my collection. Got it.
Yeah, think of all the new maps you got to draw while you were in the water, and then on land, and then walking through the forest for like 3 days.
This internship sucks.
You're paid with experience, not by money.
Boop, boop, boop.
Now we have a Sangor page.
Yay.
Wow. I love it. I want to make my island look like that. What? Get that out of here.
Guys, rampaging.
Like Sim City when he pays that monster to show up.
Yep. Vote for me, because I can summon alien space monsters and tornadoes.
Vote for me or I'll bring this city to its knees.
Alright, so you guys could take this moment to discuss your plans going forward. Since it's been a little bit.
Well then, what's your plan
I'm
now?
gonna see if I can get ale for breakfast. Today is an ale for breakfast day.
You're gonna get
ale for breakfast all the time.
They're gonna ask for an ID.
Oh, I lost it on the ship. That's why I have to go back.
Alright, fuck it.
Is that somebody mouth breathing over there again?
I don't know, I think someone's eating. Ba-doop. And now they died.
Well, Well, I'm gonna sit there and stare at my beer for a second and contemplate
Your life choices.
life. And is Ashira joining us, or is this just us at the Comfort Inn?
You guys could be there first if you want.
Okay.
In case you want to have a moment with your crew before they show up.
Well, look. Since Kari, we'll send a random crew member to go knock on the door of Kari or Flipper Bunk or some fucking shit. Because she's obviously still asleep. And, well, so yesterday happened. We really, really, really need... Oh, 4 days ago happened. Sorry. 4 days ago happened. And we really need to update our... I really want to get some, revenge on these people who have hurt us. And so we're going to use all this money that we've hoarded, and we're going to spend it on gear that we are going to need for the future. Then we need to commit more crimes.
Yes. I'm confused. Is Eric at this meeting?
No.
That's true. Silence is consent. Yay! 100%!
The process works.
Yes.
Yay for democracy.
Alright, so you give yourself a little motivational speech. Your crew just kind of stares on in silence, still rubbing the tender buttholes where they got plowed.
Oh man, I became the god of thunder. Well, I became the floating agitation of thunder. I didn't really kill anybody.
You were Lord Captain Aven, the above 0 HP.
Lord Captain Aven. It's not empty, but there's still a sip left. You want it?
No, so after a few minutes, Sharon, Eric, and Callor and her crew walks in.
And the music of We Are the Champions plays in the background. And, well, I heard the news. How are you doing?
Well, it's a 2 ale for breakfast day. And, just kind of get, I would say I wanted to really sleep the anger off so I could clear my head, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, you can't sleep when Kyrie's fucking a bison.
I don't know what she's doing, but she's not here.
All you hear is whatever the fuck is sound a bison makes. Keep that shit down!
So, what are you gonna do? I guess you're down a ship, but you do have a spare.
Yeah, well, we're going to put Kari to work. And she's going
finally.
to... Well, yeah. And she's going to slave away at creating some gear for the crew. And as we both know, silence is consent.
That's an interesting thing, so I should probably ask Kyrie for things right about now.
Yes. Silence is consent.
Well,
Alright, Shirazga. Oh, Kari's typing. Oh, God. Ah, there we go. Good. Whew. I was really worried.
I see what you did. Why are there multiple Kyries typing right now? Well.
Oh. Very interesting, Kyrie. Will do. It's easy enough.
That your selfless service will not be forgotten.
At least until you die, and then your
Until you die,
body will be at
then
sea.
you will be so forgotten.
You remember that? You remember that guy, girl, who did the things?
No.
Yeah, she like pounded the metal and made the thing.
No. You mean blacksmiths? I've heard of blacksmiths.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it's blacksmith. It's
What are mythic stuff?
That's mythic levels. That's like badass levels that the DM can reward you with. So
All right, never
don't
mind.
worry about them.
Yep.
They're like epic levels.
So I can't take mythic dodge.
Correct. You would have to
No.
you would have to get levels in mythic to get access to mythic feats and mythic spells. Well, sounds like you got a plan. Let me know when Kyrie's done crafting, because I might make her, slightly useful temporarily.
Yeah. So the other thing is, considering I have one ship gone, one ship at the island, I have no ship to take me back to the island. So I am in a bit of a math problem here and going to need your help.
I see. Well, I need to do something with my ship for a couple of days, but after that I could get you a ride there.
Well, we will be here for a while, considering how fast Kyrie can make things. And I am going on a trek back to the shipwreck, which I'll probably need your boy Eric for. And this time we'll treat him as not an intern.
Yeah, see that you doubt. Well, sounds like you got a plan for getting at least crafting started, and that's going to take you a few days. So, I'll at least keep you busy. I guess anything else you're on your, plate besides the usual horrible existence you're going through at the moment?
No. It's pretty much just it's crafting. There's an item on the shipwreck I'd really like to grab. And then I'm getting we're grabbing supplies so the crews on the island can start making houses so I can get rid of this shanty town.
That is probably a good idea. So pretty much when you get your crafting done and get those personnel put together, we can see about what we can do about getting you to that island.
Alright. I appreciate that. You're a champion amongst thieves.
Well, I'll leave you to your breakfast.
I think I'm gonna get some eggs soon too.
You just put the eggs in the beer.
What kind of beer comes with eggs?
All right. Anyone else got anything? What's up?
Yeah, indeed. Does anyone else have anything before I interject and move on?
It's not, no.
Well, it's kind of off topic, but I was going to ask you about the all the knowledge checks that I made a couple of
No, I
sessions
meant for
ago.
the meeting thing.
Yeah, current stuff.
Oh, okay, all right.
I don't care about your knowledge rolls.
Who gets those? Nerds get those.
I have a list of things to give you, but I'll pass that here in a little bit. So, anyone have anything else for the meeting?
I am going to go and find somebody to teach me how to work Siege Engine.
So, yeah, there's nothing else for the meeting itself.
Yeah.
All right. Shira, as you get up to leave, Sandara stands up. She's like, Captain, have a word with you?
Absolutely.
Not you.
Aww. Well,
I was
I'm just
pausing
gonna-
just for that.
I'm just gonna put my face back in the beer.
I like to think that Aven like perks up a little bit and just goes, "Oh," just drinks again. Of course, lead the way.
It's okay, Aven. I'll drink with you.
All right,
It's good- it's-
she walks with you outside
all right.
and relays the whole crew dying thing again, just in case you missed it the first time,
Right.
and that lets you know that you and her are the only surviving. Well, she's the only surviving member from the original crew on the Siren Song that didn't originally join you.
Yeah.
So she says, since you're my oldest friend and this new crew seems to be bad luck, if you are willing to have me, I'd like to come over to your ship.
Of course. I mean, to be honest, if you didn't, step forward, I probably would have dragged you onto my ship myself. So, welcome aboard.
Righto, I'll get my stuff.
Yep. And when you're ready, just go to the Siren Song, because I can use your help.
Righto. Alright, Aven, Sandara comes back inside, says, hey, look, pretty much every reason I had to stay with you is gone now. They've all pretty much died, and I'm really starting to believe that you or anyone who's ever set foot on the Siren Song is cursed. So we'll see you around.
All right.
You lost your ship and you lost the girl. Great job, Karate Kid.
I already have a girl. She's back on an island. I have to wait to go back to there until. And then when all's that's lost, I'll roll my willpower to keep me from killing myself. Just walk into the ocean and drown. Oh, shit.
Yeah. Why? Why am I blue? You know what'll cheer you up? Shopping.
What's that?
Shopping.
Oh my god.
Retail therapy.
Go to the freaking mall, man.
Let's go to the mall today.
Alright, so you got anything else, Wes, or are we jumping straight into the downtime stuff?
I would go straight into downtime stuff. Since
Okay.
Kyrie's still not here, fucking
Sounds good.
would have been a bit of a stuck there, but yeah.
Hey everyone, Depressed Dior here. Gonna go ahead and fast forward through most of this downtime stuff. We've been technically in downtime for about 3 sessions now, but obviously things got a little bit delayed because Wes wanted to go ahead and do the Chellish combat with Aven and his crew. Mostly the motivation behind that, obviously, I mean, that was discussed in a previous video, but just to reiterate, it's mostly to try to get some motivation into the new characters, since none of them have any real attachment to the main story anymore. Essentially, all of the original characters that were, they woke up on the ship and on the pirate ship and were forcibly drafted into duty are all dead except for Ashira. So Ashira is the only one that has any attachment to the main plot. So a very simple hook is, as Aven had stated, is revenge, and that definitely gets them a little bit of attachment towards the going after the Chellish. And going after the Chellish is definitely a big thing for this campaign in general, as it'll be revealed as we go along. But so everything in the background is going to be kind of fast forward. There's not really much to watch. I mean, you're going to see me with my spreadsheet, going over stuff. The other reason I'm doing this is because there's actually a lot of stuff that happened between the sessions for planning. that's happening in the background. I believe that you guys heard the part where Aven wanted to actually go back to his wrecked ship and get some things. His intention was to get something from Kroop and bring it back to Ashira, since obviously Kroop and Ashira, he knows that they were, pretty good friends, to say the least, as far as friends. It's, I guess, as close to the term of friend that Ashira could possibly use for somebody. And also he wanted to go and get the hammock. There's a magic hammock that we kind of mention every once in a while that we never really use. It's actually worth quite a bit of money. But before the session even began, I mean, we have 2 weeks between each session, and obviously I was, Wes wanted everyone to, obviously talk to him and make plans and stuff like that. So I was talking to him, and I mean, he kind of hinted to go back to the wreck ship and maybe collect anything that's still there. And I was thinking, originally I was like, what is possibly there? And I recalled the hammock, and I was like, I finally was like, what is that hammock? Like I've heard the description a few times and like what it does, but like we never use it like ever. So I looked it up, and it's actually worth. It has a market price of about 5,000 gold, which is really, really impressive. So I was like, okay, got it. I was like, well, that's going to be pretty worthwhile. And then, the fact that we're in a metropolis, getting various spellcasting services is actually quite possible. And I was like, you know what? We can go and get Kroop raised. Now, originally I was not sure if I should do it, simply because I wasn't sure if the NPC wanted to come back, quote-unquote. But as you probably have noticed, Sindara has now joined my crew. And Sindara is a cleric, and so she can speak with dead. So the plan was to... It takes 4 days on foot through the jungle to get to the wreck site. It only takes with the Witch's Curse, it would only take a day. And then on the little dinghy that Aven still has, obviously from the Siren Song, it would have taken him 2 days to get there. So essentially, the moment that meeting was over, I had Eric, Kalor, Sandara, Sil, and pretty much my crew just load up onto the Siren on the Witch's Curse and headed straight for the wreck. So that's happening in the background. Pretty much, literally, what I said verbally, like during the session, was, I was like, I said to Eric, I was like, do you know what your plan is? He's like, yes. And I was like, go and do it. That's all I said. So in the background, that was all happening. Wes was whispering to Eric while the rest of the group was doing their thing, making Eric do some secret. Well, it wasn't. I don't think it was secret, but he did some survival checks and stuff to kind of navigate his way. This was kind of Ashira's test for Eric, because I actually wanted him to be promoted into an officer, because quite frankly, he's earned it. He's been doing rather well in combat. He's actually improving. He's participating, and his survival and sailing skills actually make him a pretty viable. And I guess you can say his cartography skills actually makes him a very viable navigator. And during this downtime, I've been trying to fill out officer roles. Like, Ashira has all the skills to handle a majority of the officer roles, but I kind of wanted some NPCs and PCs to kind of fill some roles too, just to kind of handle stuff. So Ashira doesn't have to juggle so many all the small things. So that's happening in the background. I'm in Sangor. I'm still crafting, and I'm recruiting some NPCs, which I'll provide at least. It's a pretty big list. They're in the Roll20 forum for this campaign. Wes has a bunch of rules for hiring NPCs, so I was taking full advantage of that to get some experts to fill certain officer roles, and also get some certain specific classes to kind of help out. But I'm kind of jumping all over the place here. So let's go back to the shipwreck, because that's the first thing that kind of happened. So both the Witch's Curse departed, as well as Aven, along with Bender, departed by way of that little dinghy boat. Obviously, my ship was going to arrive there first. So they arrived, they found the hammock, grabbed it. They also grabbed Kroop's body. Sindara's with them, so obviously gentle repose is an option. The time limit for Raise Dead is 1 day per level. So you need to be at least 9th level to cast Raise Dead. So the minimum time limit is 9 days. It had been 5 days before we departed, so we arrived on the 6th day. At that point, we could do gentle repose and just head back. Otherwise, even even if without the gentle approach, we would still make it in time to do the resurrection. So that happened. Now the other thing that they still had Eric do in the background, which I didn't notice in the beginning, was they actually delayed a day. They instead of going straight back, since they already knew that Aven was actually heading to the shipwreck too, they didn't want to cross paths, so they took a wider route and actually rendezvoused with the Iceberg, which is my second ship, which was actually just returning from their voyage south. So they met up, and then they came back to Sengor. And so what ended up happening was Aven arrived at his wrecked ship and could not find the hammock. Now he did find some of Kroop's stuff in there, like some rather expensive ale and stuff like that, which he took. And he's like, "Well, okay, I'll go ahead and bring this back to Ashira because I know Ashira and Kroop are friends. Because right now he doesn't know I'm raising Kroop. In fact, he doesn't know for pretty much the entire session, which is the beauty of this wonderful little game we're playing. So the only thing I said verbally during this part was I told Wes that I wanted to do a spellcasting service. I wanted to go to the Temple of Sengor, find a high-level caster, about 9th level, to cast a 5th level magic for me. And then he already knew. I mean, Wes already knew what I was doing, so I was like, okay, we're gonna do that. And at that point, that was it. I sold the hammock immediately, so there's no trace of that anymore. I used the money from the hammock to kind of pay for the Raised Dead. The pay for a spellcasting service for Raised Dead, you have to pay the component cost as well. So the total price tag to bring Coop back to life was 5,450 gold. So literally, I just told Eric that 5,450 is how much you'll inconvenience me if you ever die. So that was taken care of. So that was done in the background. I wanted to go ahead and talk about it because obviously you guys were not going to be able to notice it through the video. And also I just wanted to speed through this as quickly as possible. So that was being taken care of. Obviously, Kyrie is a crafter as well as me. So they put her to work. She eventually showed up. She ended up getting a few free spells like Cat's Grace. So she can actually, do things like belts of dexterity. We actually have it. The DM has ruled that in order to craft an item, you have to have the requirements. Usually, as rules is written, each requirement you're missing just increases the DC by 5. But Wes has it ruled that we have to have it. So that's why we have to do things like spellcasting services or make sure we have the spells to do crafting. Anyway, so crafting's happening in the background. Aven came back mostly empty-handed, but he had the ale, which he could have sold for some money, but he ended up actually giving it back to Ashira. And with that, it was he gave it back to Ashira, kind of hoping they could kind of do kind of what they did when they first met, where they just kind of sat together and drank and talked. But Ashira kind of actually blew him off, because at that point, the first thing I thought of when I got it, I was like, oh, I could give this back to Kroop because Kroop's alive. But Aven didn't actually know that. So that stuff was happening. So as mentioned, the Iceberg came back. Wes rolled a bunch of kind of random encounters for that particular ship. We're kind of winging it as far as how to handle NPC ships. My intention, of course, is just, as long as the NPC ships are kind of making enough plunder to pay themselves, as far as paying the crew cost, I'm generally pretty happy. He came back with about 3 plunder. So I used one to pay them, and then I just used the other 2 to kind of help pay for the NPCs I was recruiting. So speaking of the NPCs I was recruiting, mostly like the basic positions like quartermasters, cooks, etc. It was like quartermaster, cook, master gunner. I think there's one other, but I don't remember what it was. Actually, I can look it up. No, I can't. Okay, well, in any case, those positions were just going to be filled with level 3 experts, just basic NPC classes that focus on skills. I also got a level 5 tactician, which was going to be my master of arms. Essentially, master of arms is the person that trains the crew. So I found it very kind of necessary to get a tactician, which is a kind of a archetype of I believe it's a fighter archetype that just focuses more on like teamwork feats. So it's mostly I mean I don't expect them to actually do anything. It's just more fluff to be like, okay, now there's someone that actually has teamwork feats to kind of help keep my my generic nameless crew alive and fare a little bit better. Especially since we're about there's obviously the well-trained Marines of the Chelish out there now. So got one of those. I got a level 6 Sea Singer. The only purpose of the Sea Singer is literally just to sing and lower the DC checks for like sailing and stuff. Like it's just to make the whole sailing a lot smoother. Level 6 does give them access to a gust of wind effect, which allows them to, of course, help speed up the ship. So that's, I mean, literally the position I literally gave the Sea Singer was Sea Singer. Their only role is to do that job. I think that is. Yeah, I think that was it as far as NPC recruitment. I only hired one cook for the iceberg. I didn't need a second one because I had Proop. So, Sandara is also. The other nope, never mind. Sorry, I'm getting all over the place. Sorry, I'm rather tired right now. But Sandara became my surgeon, and yeah. So once I gave the new NPCs officers to the iceberg, I bought a few feather token fans, and I informed them about the Chelish, and then I sent them off again. I was pretty happy with the fact they at least got 3 plunder. Speaking of 3 plunder, I'm fairly certain that Aven and his crew forgot that they had 3 plunder from this ship they fought before the Chelish. I think they completely forgot about it. So they were just using, so all the money they were using for crafting is just the stuff they have saved up before then. Besides that, but like I mentioned before, the crafting happened. So the stuff so some of the things that Aven and Wes were running into was obviously Wes wanted the group to state ahead of time what they were going to do. The problem is this group doesn't like to do that a lot of times, at least majority of them. I think some people have gotten better at it. Eric has definitely improved on that, and Aven's been a lot more focused as well now. And occasionally Bender kind of steps up, but yeah, the problem mainly is usually Sarah and Kyrie. Aven kind of made a separate Facebook chat for his crew alone, and this was mostly to kind of filter Aven wanted to try a softer hand on trying to guide them, and also to kind of filter any of the nonsense before bringing it up to Wes. Problem is most of them didn't actually step up and say anything, and a lot of stuff that was kind of frustrating, and Aven definitely had a lot of trouble. He was trying to get them to just spend their money and actually have interest in things. I did give Aven some hints about stuff to focus on. Pretty much it was focus on the basics: increase your AC, get a magic weapon, get magic armor, get a stat item. Something that gives you plus your stats. +2 is the basic. And so he kind of worked with that. Aven ended up upgrading his rapier to +2. So he has a +2 rapier now. He has +1 armor enchant. I believe he has +2. He has +2 natural armor now, amulet, and he now has a belt of dexterity +2. I believe that was all he purchased or had crafted. Kyrie can do craft wonders item and craft arms and armor, so definitely, she's definitely pretty useful on that front if you can get her to actually do it. I honestly don't remember what Bender got, if anything. Yeah, I honestly don't remember what he got. But okay, found what they were using, or what they were crafting. Kyrie crafted a +4 intelligence headband, or headband of vast intelligence +4, whatever it's called, and also bought a scroll of fireball. So here's hoping that she'll actually be useful in combat, besides just casting a few buffs and summoning Disney characters. Bender got a belt of dexterity +2. And Kyrie, there was a lot of confusion about Kyrie stuff. Part of it was actually because PRD and Paizo doesn't actually update their shit anymore, apparently. So we went ahead and just decided to stick with Nethys, because Nethys is actually really, really up to date. But that kind of fixed up what. So unfortunately, because of those mistakes, really the only thing that I think Kyrie got, or not Kyrie, but Sarah got, was +1 armor, a +1 enchantment on her. She had mithril armor already, so she kind of got that upgraded a little bit. There was some. So obviously, the big issue throughout the session was the fact that you weren't ready, and so Wes is going to end up doing a little bit of extra work for the people that did actually, were ready and are participating. So Eric is actually going to be going on an adventure soon, which I'll actually be showing the footage for that. So hopefully you guys will enjoy it. But I want to go ahead and jump into what happened at the very, very, very end of the downtime, which was after everyone spent all their stuff, there was there was actually some other discussions and stuff like that between Aven and his crew, because they were just doing they just kept asking for weird shit that was either way too expensive or just not viable. They wanted third level wands and all this other shit. Kyrie wanted to get a wand of haste just to save spell slots, which, as if you've seen the combats, Kyrie doesn't spend her spell slots on very good things to begin with. So her sparing her a spell slot to summon 1d3 hyenas again is probably not really the most viable use of money. That being said, they eventually figured out something and kind of got that taken care of. Now, after that was all taken care of, Wes was like, all right, well, we need to take care of Kyrie's new familiar. Kyrie picked up Improved Familiar, and she wanted to go ahead and switch over to this weird Celestial Pixie thing. I don't even know what it's called. For one thing, she did all of her stats wrong. With the exception of Ashira, the end of last session, everyone should have leveled at least 7 or 8. And a lot of people didn't get their levels up done before the session either, which is another issue. So Wes was kind of annoyed, to say the least. So he kind of just went step by step what Kyrie needed to do to set up the familiar. And then at the very end of it, he mentioned that in order to switch your familiar type, you have to dismiss your current familiar and then do the ritual to summon another one. The cost for summoning a wizard familiar is 200 gold per level. Kyrie is level 8, so she needed 1,600 gold. She currently does not have 1,600 gold, so she cannot summon it. So the good news is it can't die now, so that's good, and we don't have to deal with it for the time being. But yeah, that's pretty much a summary of the downtime. I'm going to go ahead and show off the combat that the adventure that Eric did, and then I believe I'll be showing pretty much the rest of the footage as well. So sorry for the rambly stuff and all that junk, but downtime is downtime, and I know you guys don't want to sit through a whole bunch of rambling nonsense in silence. So enjoy. Oh, I lied. There's one more thing I need to mention. After Kyrie was done with crafting, Ashira tasked Kyrie with crafting enchanting some agile breastplate, which is essentially is breastplate that gives you reduced penalties for doing mostly acrobatic type stuff. So it makes it pretty useful medium armor for sailors and stuff like that. But I had it enchanted with +1 Bloodthirsty. The +1, of course, just increases the armor by 1. Bloodthirsty is whenever you successfully wound someone in melee. It'll give you it'll increase the enhancement bonus of your armor by 1, or if you're raging while that happens, you get +2, I believe, or +3. So it definitely gives you a very significant armor boost, especially for a barbarian. So I had that made. I also purchased a few more feather fans for myself, feather token fans, just in case I need them. And I think that was actually, there's one other thing I did, which took place after Eric's little adventure. I actually had I keep saying siren song. The Witch's Curse, my ship. I went ahead and had it upgraded. We're about to switch over to different ship combat rules, as well as ship rules in general. So I talked with Wes, and we figured out some upgrades to mess around with. I got magically treated rigging, which essentially makes sure all my rigging for the sails and stuff is double HP now, as well as increased hardness, which just makes it a lot harder to take down. I also replaced all my sails, all 4 riggings worth, with silk sails, which the rules that Wes presented for that is every 2 sails that you replace with silk sails, or every 2 riggings that you replace with silk sails, it increases your ship's speed by 1. And every 1 speed that you have on your ship is equivalent of 20 feet of movement. So my ship with the Fire as She Bears rules had speed 6, which made it 120 feet speed. Now it's 8 speed, which gives it 160 feet speed. So the Siren Song should be very speedy and reasonably durable ship now. So that's kind of the plan with that. So sorry about that. I wanted to go ahead and get as much information out as possible so you guys don't have to hear all the logistics. So see you guys in a bit, I guess.